In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a $1,200 mistake and how I made $1,500 on a $10,800 investment. Stick around. This is going to be a good one. Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot covered call video. Well, that's right. I'm going to show you how I made a $1,200 mistake and I'm going to show you how I made $1,500 on a stock where I only risked $10,800. Now, some of you will sit back and say, man, that is a very risky investment. We're going to talk about it right here, right now. So let's go ahead and get to this. If you haven't been to my channel, look, you want to go to my channel and subscribe to the channel. It's right there and it's free. And if you like this video today, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. And what we're doing is this. We have tons of videos on my channel. Try to update them. Try to do them every week. I'll tell you what, I get great feedback and it just pumps me up to come back to do the next red hot cover call video. So I want you to subscribe. I want you to come back. We talk about my trades. Maybe through me talking about my trades, you learn something. Maybe it ups your game. Well, today we're going to talk about two trades for which I know it will help you up your game. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. We're going to talk about an NVIDIA trade for which I have made a lot of money, but I made a critical mistake. Critical mistake. We're going to talk about that right here. Now, I also bought 1,000 shares PG&E. Now, if you know PG&E here in California, they are absolutely getting kicked in the ribs. They're being sued, and I don't know if there's any end in sight. But recently, they settled with all the major victims of the recent fires that have caused them a lot of trouble. Now, with that said, that was great news. The stock rallied some 8%. But since then, we've had some shareholders come in and change up the game. This may not be a good investment for me, but we're going to talk about what I've done recently to make $1,500 in a 30-day window. Okay, so let's talk about NVIDIA first. If you've been watching my videos, you know that when NVIDIA fell back here before earnings, I saw that as an opportunity to buy some shares, and I'll tell you why. AMD recently announced some great earnings, and I'll tell you, in the middle of the China trade wars, that was a surprise, and most of the chip stocks got a rally out of that. Well, for me, I'm thinking NVIDIA, which for the most part is undervalued right now with its stock price, trading at about 150, 155, I end up picking up some shares at 156. Now, it muddles in the red here a little bit, and I'm waiting for earnings because I think even if NVIDIA gets bad earnings, we're going to go ahead and rally because the news isn't that bad, right? That's exactly what happens. NVIDIA rallies higher. Now, during this time, I wrote a couple cash secured puts, picking up some juicy premiums. Love using those volatile down days, pick up some fat premiums. I'll tell you what, I wrote an at the money on a very nasty down day, and I was able to pick up $9 in premium. Then it wasn't about a week later, I did the same thing at the money, picked up $6 in premium. Now, if you know me, I really want to play that bounce. I'm not doing that at the top of the cycle. I'm doing it when it gets down at support. So the likelihood that the stock rebounds and head higher is really the goal here. That's what I think is going to happen. And when that happens, I'll buy that option back, pocketing the difference. Right, I get $9 and say I buy it back in a short window for $3. I pocket $6 for a very short trade. Well, NVIDIA had great earnings, and sure enough, in 2 days, it rallied some 20 points, and I am feeling good. Well, NVIDIA rallies to 185. Now, I don't want to give my shares away too cheap, right? I'm just like everybody else. If NVIDIA is going to head higher to 200, I want to be a part of that. Well, in this case, I dialed up a 3-month trade. I was looking at a November trade, and I was looking to get for this 65-day trade. Yes, this would be a 65-day trade up here. I was going to get over $12 in premium for this. If I wrote a covered call, giving somebody the right, but not the obligation to take my shares away from me, at the time, this was going to be a 65-day trade. They were going to pay me $12.25. And I'll tell you, I was thinking about it. And man, I was thinking that's locked in money if I do it. Now, what I mean by locked in money is if the stock were to fall, well, I hold the risk of the stock falling. But for me, I don't think it's going to fall that much. If anything, remember, I was playing NVIDIA down here at 149, 150. So if anything, I'd be giving back all my stock appreciation. But I'm feeling good right here. But then I start to get a little FOMO. I'm thinking, man, I don't want to give up my shares. shares, I start dialing up all kind of trades, man. I'm doing the $5 out of the money, the $10 out of the money. I'm doing all kind of things. Then I even look at the possibility of buying an option. So for some reason, I put in a buy to open. Now, you know, man, I do sell around here. We don't buy options. No way, no how. Well, sure enough, I forgot that I had a buy to open. And right at the last minute, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this 65-day trade. I'm going to go ahead and let somebody take my shares up here. I'm going to get that $12.50. Man, I'm going to pocket that money. We are going to move on, right? We take the one in the hand versus two in the bush. Well, what ends up happening is when I go ahead and put in a covered call ask for $12.50, right? The bid is $12.25, the mid is $12.40, and the ask is $12.50. Well, when I put in the ask for $12.50, sure enough, it takes at $12.25. Well, immediately that throws up a red flag to me because I know what that means, right? That means I bought to open. So I now own the right to take somebody's shares. As you can see on the screen here, I could take somebody's shares at $185. I have till November 15th and I got $12.25. No, I didn't get $12.25. I paid $12.25. And that happened so quick. I totally missed that. I could not believe I made that mistake. But I sat there and thought about it and I'm like, okay, look, if I really do think this is going to go higher by November 15th, I'm going to stick with this, okay? I found myself in a bad spot. I'm going to stick with this. Let's see what happens. Well, right now you can see the stock has fallen to 172. It's getting kicked in the nats. My $12.25 option that I bought, it's trading for less than $9 now. Well, this is a lesson learned. I haven't lost $1,200 yet. I still have an option that's worth about $9. But man, this is one of those situations where you really do have to sit back, check yourself, make sure everything is right. And I've done this before. I did a video years ago where I talked about I lost $400 doing this, where I bought some puts where I wanted to sell puts. I'll tell you, man, you can get excited, you can get emotional and just forget where you're at in the moment. Now, with that said, you can see what I did. I own those 100 shares, right? So what I did was when the stock had fallen a little bit, I said, look, I'm going to write a covered call now. I am going to write that covered call. I write the short-term 30-day covered call. The stock's now trading at 184.27. I end up writing the 195 out of the money and I get 275 for it. So the way I looked at it was if NVIDIA falls, I at least have $2.75 of downside protection. It's not real downside protection, but at least I bring in a credit in this time of when I'm losing money on the option I bought. So really what I wanted to show you here is that I made a critical mistake. I was tinkering around, doing things I shouldn't have done, and quite frankly, I wasn't in the moment. And when I went ahead and executed that trade for which I thought I was selling a 65-day covered call, thinking I was getting $12.50 for it, no, turns out I ended up buying that option, and here we are. I am left holding the bag. Man, if you're out there rooting for me, I need you right now. Hey, look, let's go ahead and get to that other trade with PG&E. I'm excited about this one. Now, before we do this, I'm putting a big fat disclaimer on this one. I don't want you to go out and be buying PG&E just because I did it, okay? First of all, you need to understand they're in bankruptcy, and I'll tell you what, any bit of news is moving his stock one way or the other. You need to know what you're dealing with here. I mean, this thing has been getting destroyed because it's going into bankruptcy, right? I mean, the shareholders may be left holding the bag. I'm going to go on the hunch that I'm only going to own this thing for about 30 days, maybe 60 days. And recently what we got was some news. See that little uptick? PG&E struck some deals. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the fire victims over the past 2 years are getting paid some $8 billion. Now that doesn't mean the drama is over for PG&E, but I looked at this as an opportunity. The stock was up some 8% on that day. So I looked at it like maybe I just buy some shares. And even if it gets to $20, I could double my money. And I understand the risk, man. The news comes hot and heavy with this. So I buy this at $10.85. This thing could go to $8.85 quicker than it could go to $15.85, right? So really, I have to be prepared. I have to have a plan. So my plan was to buy some shares, and if I lose $1, yes, $1, I was going to bail on the trade. Hopefully the floor doesn't fall out from under me, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Well, I bought the shares at $10.85, and sure enough, it continues higher. It continues higher to above $11.60. And I'm not even thinking about writing a covered call on PG&E. I just want to own it for a little stock appreciation. Man, you buy 1,000 shares, if you get 3 or 4 points, man, that's $3,000 or $4,000, right? My eyes are huge. Well, I start looking at some options on PG&E. And as you could see, a 30-day option on PG&E to take my shares away from me at $12, right? That doesn't sound like much, but when I own the shares at $10.85, the stock has moved up to about $11.30, $11.40. I write that 1 month covered call. I end up picking up $1.50. On this day, PG&E was up about 4%. The overall market was sort of trading sideways, so I'm sure money was coming into the utility stocks. Now, again, this wasn't necessarily a stock for me to write covered calls on. This was a stock for which I wanted to buy at $10.85. Maybe I get a 3-4 point move, and then we would think about writing a covered call. This stock here doesn't really adhere to any of my golden rules of covered call writing. One, I want stocks that pay dividends, so if I'm stuck holding the stock, at least I get paid dividends. Second, it has horrible news, so we're getting news almost every single week, right? It's like earnings report news, right? The stock can really move some 8% either way. So this thing just has so much uncertainty, and that's why I don't want you to go out and just jump on them. But what I want to show you here with this trade is you can find stocks out there that trade for $10, $20. Some of you small ball players can really find great stocks. And what you can do is keep your hurdles low. Keep your hurdles low. In this case, PG&E is literally trading for $11.30. I write the 12 covered call. The likelihood if the stock market continues to trade sideways or higher, in 30 days, it'll get above 12. They'll take my shares. I collect the stock appreciation, right, from $11.35 to 12. I pocket that, but I also got paid $1.50 for this. So if I own 100 shares or 500 shares or 1,000 shares, this trade for me is going to be close to 20%. Now again, this is risky because all of the things that go with PG&E. But I'm telling you, a lot of you have played AMD. AMD is one of the favorites out there because it's a very cheap stock. People feel like they could buy 100 shares, 200 shares with less money. You can find some great premiums on stocks like AMD. So what I want you to do is not feel like you're being left out of the game because you can't write covered calls on stocks like Adobe that trade for $270 or 3M that trade for $170. There are tons of stocks that trade under $50. And remember, you only have to have 100 shares. So if you have $5,000 and you find a great stock that trades under $5,000, you can buy 100 shares. Keep your hurdles low so you can write that out of the money covered call, make that decent premium, and chalk it up as a win. Now, as a quick recap, really this video is about, I want you to stay in the moment. Don't let emotions trickle into your trading. See, that NVIDIA trade where I was looking to sell a 65-day covered call, I got caught up in the emotions and I forgot the fact that I changed from sell to buy. I end up buying that option and now I'm paying the price. I am down some 4 points on that trade. And I wanted to show you the PG&E trade, not because of PG&E. I want to give you hope that for you small ball players, you can go out there and find great stocks. Again, I'm not saying PG&E is a great stock, but you can find great stocks that fit your budget. You could write that out of the money covered call, picking up decent premium. And look, we have one green trade after 2 green trades. Next thing you know, you're making real money. And look, success after success, it'll get you motivated to have your next successful trade. Hey, look, what I want you to do is get your financial education, do your due diligence, open up that small ball account, do your very first safe trade. And I'll tell you what, once you feel it, you own it. And I'll tell you, you'll want to do it again. Hey, look, if you like this video today, I want you to bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. And look, if you like what we're talking about today, remember, subscribe to the channel. We try to come back every single week to give you another video. Maybe it ups your game. Hey, look, until next time, may all your covered calls be profitable.